wait, there.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Air was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance. Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without...
Yes, that is...
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your...
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with converse. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage. Oh? It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to...
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Oh, let Paimon see! Oh, wait. Then that means this document is a perfect timeline of... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the... I didn't think that this is the A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally will always be a source of professional regret, I think. According to Monsieur Neuvillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you. You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. There's no need to repeat all the Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. Of course, it is only natural.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, Do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but
well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must, and if I was not the Archon.
That doesn't sound right. First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all,
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a
curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Farina is actually a
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what— For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the indemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
That doesn't sound... You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to—
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have—
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now you're real. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be—
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much—
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the— if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can—
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How— that doesn't sound right. It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means—
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still—
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will— Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Furina, would you dare to touch some of the— If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting—
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Which—
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really...
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water!
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewien?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewien.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh wait, what did she just say? I didn't get dissolved! Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an art... Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro are to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us that—
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendation, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Mache wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind—
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina— But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you've completed—
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will all—
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try—
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous— But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left— Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates. We'd like you to come here and confirm—
Huh? So what do you see? What—
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she— so when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real—
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of the— However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you remember. The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids— The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin— The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to some— Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throat. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? That doesn't sound quite right.
perhaps what is about to take place, the true sin of the Hydro Archon, and the original sin
That doesn't sound quite right.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of, and the first, this might be the reason. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness, the stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have...
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the... The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truth should come... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then it feels like we're going to have...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably anchored Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account...
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable... Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should find...
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to... Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of not one to give in. She eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of...
So you...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it does answer a lot.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes... You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now...
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deduction about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served. However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a... As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
That doesn't sound quite right. That doesn't sound quite right.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing.
The truth, the original sin.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the star. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the... And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, from the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
That's not... We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible...
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as... Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods. Could things be happening in hidden corners? Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, all right, it is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost Huh? Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Time to go! Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Illusion shattered!
See? Phew.
Farina. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me? What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think. I don't know why, but it's in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Oh, very good. You know it well.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly. The only thing I know for sure is this prophecy. Will it really come to pass?
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later. Things will develop just as the prophecy declared. There is no escaping it.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, you frightened me. You spoke so much and with so much certainty. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to suffer? But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in this world, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt?
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. That of the new Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. I'll try to do this. So, how long am I going to have to play this role?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro-Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my thoughts just fine.
That's the new Hydro-Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her and an ordinary...
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-back puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Oh, this is bad. Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as calm down, Furina. Think. What do the people want? Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering, if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self. Here, you may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and... My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its god. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House? Besides, none of these trials were the one that
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable... All right. Deoteria, is it? How is your son's...
You remembered me, and he is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more... You're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports.
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to all manner. Really? Have they...
I'm afraid that they haven't found any of...
Is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of... The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep... Alright, Farina, don't think too hard about this.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the...
There'll be no need.
Lady Farina, I've waited...
Indeed, my dear...
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near...
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come... I don't think I let anything slip today. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina. It's... I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an...
And what a fine family yours is indeed.
Surely you
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Really now? This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the...
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your...
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show may never imagine that have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more than willing to share your...
Share that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you could just share it with me.
A witness. Yes, and if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage... He's right. I could confide in him, but if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the price. No, Farina, you should... But what if it's real, Farina? You've worked so hard for so long. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide? If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might think about it long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principle, she did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice. taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would. Alas, your understanding of this device. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide. The vast majority had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all a part of your plan, then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the but only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be...
returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the
But...
Oh, what? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragons.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Judex Nervalette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened...
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
But... didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to... We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an execute the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name, come with me, traveler. The hour of execution.
Oh ja, jetzt geht's los. Sternverschlingender Narwal. Alles klar, Digga.
Done my best to separate the power of the primordial sea from the whale. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless it find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power. We shall look for an opening together. I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility. The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. The chance will present itself.
Illusion shattered!
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within. Manifest the authority of the ancient dragons. Witness the might of the primordial seas.
Wind, hear me! Torn to oblivion! There is no escape! Time to go! Let the world collide! It's over!
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would... well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point.
That power.
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. It's just that he gave us the impression that she was, less...
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring Nar, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk?
The point being...
well, being that this pet almost destroyed it, so what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sertologi.
I am unfamiliar with...
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous.
The foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfulnir, then? Or...
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rein Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rein Daughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't quite
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already...
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Furina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you right?
Yeah.
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
The soil renewed. The Svina di Rasula tax post-disaster old soil The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute. People always call the first researcher mad, but few... Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Juria and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish...
Alter, war das geil.
Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia...
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen from...
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me.
Are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different.
LOL. Aha. Geil.
Huh? Navia!
Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how...
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snežević. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount of supply. Our residents are...
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. But if you don't mind, could...
I get where you're coming from.
That would be fine.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down...
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions?
Forget it.
I see you're the same as always. Couldn't you...
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake...
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up. And smile.
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news, and freshness is the key. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows? I might eventually get that interview with you after all, Miss Clarand.
Wow, you really do have that never say die spirit. I'm impressed.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Meripede.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin, who told Monsieur Nervillet, and he told you, right?
That's a very complete information chain.
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did the fortress become so friendly towards the media? I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that Ridsley will make a personal appearance.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case, I'll be making a move first.
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything interesting. I'll treat you to afternoon tea in exchange.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgia.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Dude, Did you come all the way to the entrance?
Of course.
It's an honor to finally—
No need to thank me.
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so—
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear.
Sir, please don't.
But it looks.
No,
Now, I might not look it, but I actually— The boat that brought it— Still, if I might ask—
Looks like—
I have to apologize, but that ship is present.
Really?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps.
Did you really have to use the word— Well, then,
Is my hair messed up?
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to—
Ah.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Sure. Come on, Miss—
sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the fortress?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone some changes, but this place is still more or less the same.
Other than that flying ship, it got a tad too much attention, I think.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes heroes. Am I right, Mr. Jurrier? Miss Lorvine?
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have—
I'll just leave the spotlight. I see. Lots of things happen that...
You sure did win them over, huh?
I'll tell them that there's good news.
Oh, actually—
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging along, and so will my duties. As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in the open.
Hey, everyone. The photo shoot's done.
In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater factory next time. All right. Last stop, the docks. Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch.
Traveler, Paimon. And Miss Charlotte.
Would you like a magic pocket? What sort of— It's a wondrous bag. Trick a friend. You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine? To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our—
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Paris.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with the first...
Lynette, could you come over?
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of every... Father says that you did a great deal during...
That's all right. We were more than happy to...
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when it could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
Well,
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems that
So there's some reason.
I suspect you'll have to.
Isn't he real busy and stuff? Paimon didn't. But back to the top.
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine.
Are you going to take the Gnosis back to Sneg?
That is our duty as Harbingers, yes. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand switching my masks is something I've always... Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. What good is honesty? As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right. I'll remember to return it.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh?
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to...
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians.
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant. I shall continue my walk.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews. Thank you all.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you take one too.
To move things about?
That's right. I guess this must be... All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte, huh? Shall we go see what Neverlette's doing?
Go! Phew! The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neverlet! Paimon didn't think you were going to have...
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to say...
Aw, Paimon! Alright, let's have it then.
It is strange how words can often leave a...
So that's what happened? Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully fledged elemental. But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontanians from dissolving.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the hydro element. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of myth. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was first brought into being on this planet. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved.
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving everyone. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's wish to turn Oceanids into real people.
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that, but whether it be by sentiment or as for the judgment path, whether it was due to that liability...
Guess Focalor hang on a second. Paimon suddenly, back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans, were the children that...
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall...
Yeah, Lynette said the...
In truth, even those couples did not... Those Oceanids...
Paimon, sort of...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell you what I know about that land. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation...
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Lord, Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the Knave. The harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, Fontaine, ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the Knave as a diplomatic gift.
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this crisis. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnosis. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need the Gnosis's power. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary conflict.
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of gratitude to the Knave and as a...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left.
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me, before leaving the Opera House. I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired and needed to rest. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the Opera House. Not unlike how an ordinary...
But she's still got a place...
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board, or travel. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time to heal. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens and lead a normal life.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers as the Hydro Dragon?
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on, I shall hear cases and pass verdicts by myself.
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the Udex, huh?
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this as such before I attend to my other responsibilities. Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House shall no longer produce indemnitium.
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith in the Hydro Arch. Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all still okay.
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I cannot quite leave Fontaine immediately.
Wow. This ancient dragon's authority stuff is...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. Paimon's still got... When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away the nose... We guessed that there might be some reason for it that only you were...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. They are certainly sharp. So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over...
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here. I can finally catch the scent of your power. What it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you speak.
Of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard...
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me. But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Foul, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is why, regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all turn.
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my personal thoughts.
This third descender you refer to, who are...
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important for me. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to...
Next time, you believe we will meet...
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not, I wanted to pass that information on.
The remains of the third So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's remains?
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the Fatui.
If she speaks the truth, I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities. I wonder, does your...
Like being able to use elemental powers without... No, let's not think about this stuff right now. Comparing the Traveler to the dead Third Descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck. Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look...
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information...
Alright. Whatever the case, it seems like the crisis here in Fontaine's over for now.
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for this moment.
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god. And she suffered through all those years as a human.
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes, life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes tilt one way, and what ultimately is the difference between the rains that fall upon all of us?
Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. be an extra fee for that.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
There'll be an extra fee for that. Think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
extra fee for that. Think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
There'll be an extra fee for There'll be an extra fee for that.
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think.
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
There'll be an extra fee for
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
I'll think there'll be an extra fee for that.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
I'll think about it.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
I'll think about it.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
There'll be an extra fee for that. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much? Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much? Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
There'll be an extra fee for that.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that.
Hey, Catherine, it's us. Got any new commissions? Specifically one with a huge more attack, perhaps? You know we're right there in the club.
It's always a pleasure to see our two most actually. We do in fact have a rather urgent...
Don't worry about that.
To put it simply, the requester is looking for a temporary replacement actress for their music, but the troupe has also been experiencing some financial difficulties. So, that's right. There are only a few days left until the performance.
Got it. Oh, this one's a doozy. What do you think? Even if we took the commission, neither of us have any...
If you're interested in helping, what maybe you can't fill the role yourselves.
Oh, it's that guy, huh? I'm unapproved. Hello there. Are you the guy looking for a new actress?
Wait, I know you two. Are you really willing to act in my musical?
Wow, sounds like we're pretty famous. But to answer your question, neither of us have any experience in musicals. But we
I see. If we can't find someone to step in, all our sets and props are very crude. We're grateful enough just to get an audience. If we had a way to make this profitable, things might have turned out differently. But now, it looks inevitable that we'll disband.
Disband? You're splitting up the...
Oh, I guess the lady at the Adventurers Guild didn't tell you? Yeah. This is supposed to be our final show together as a troupe. One last show. And after that, we go our separate way. Nobody wants things to just... Yeah. The show just won't be...
Got it. We have a clearer picture now. Let's see if we can come up with any ideas.
Please, there's no need to go that far. I wouldn't feel right asking such a huge favor. And I can't promise that we'd ever be able to pay you back.
Good point. We should find someone who will put on the best performance possible. Oh, wait! What about... You know who? That's how you know we're the best partners. Anyway, she should have all the free time in the world right now. She's really good at performing, and she was once super popular with the crowd. Performing in a musical should be a piece of cake for her.
Who are you thinking of? Sounds like someone famous. Her! You're...
No, Paimon doesn't actually know if she's performed on stage.
You're not wrong, but even if she's still an idol to many people in Fontaine. Well, yet... Fair enough. I'm sure everyone in our troupe is probably... Of course.
No point stressing about that. Besides, things are different now.
Thank you for your help. I guess I'll just stay here and wait for the good news. Good luck.
Wait, Serena.
As it happens, I have her current address here. I can provide it to you.
When did you get here?
I came over when things were starting to sound. It is my duty to support commitment.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Well, now that we've got the address, we'll go find Serena. Back. Track.
Inazuma shines eternal. Shine down.
The strength gained through my own hard work is truly fulfilling. Thanks for your support. What sauce should I pick for my macaroni tonight?
Ja, alles gut. Ich hab Pause. Ich esse gerade einen Riegel und ich sitze gleich wieder vor. Das ist ein Pausenhof, weil ich gerade bei den Hühnern war. Und genau.
Shine down! Let the world shower down praise! Huh? There is no escape! Now you shall perish!
In hearing about me? I suppose there's no help.
Silly child, Billy child. Right! Show them. Right here. Right here.
Settle down! Let the might be humble! This is order! Crumble!
Come on now. Emerge. Right now. Nothing lasts forever.
I will have order! Right! The time is beckoning. Bow your head.
Right now.
Order tight. Quick.
Show them.
Settle down. Be sanctified.
That's heavy. Emerge. Right here. I'm always
Right. Silence. This is order. The time is beckoning. Order tight. Quick.
to target practice.
Where do you think you're
Be sanctified.
Step right up.
This is order.
order. Solidify.
Motion to compel. Admissible evidence.
Order got it. I will have order.
Motion to compel.
Gather.
Incinerate.
Crumble. This is order. Solidify. I will have order. This is order.
Boah, Alter.
You know, it's common courtesy to make sure the homeowner isn't in earshot when you're denigrating their abode. I was just out on a shopping trip. I ran out of macaroni, so I went to grab a few more bags. I used to have a much wider range of choices when it came. Not at all. As long as you have different kinds of sauces in, you can have macaroni and tomato sauce one week, macaroni and bolognese the next.
Oh, sounds like you're really struggling to cope.
How rude! Questioning my cooking skills. The audacity. It's not like I have a very eventful life these days. Actually, I barely leave the house. So I don't see how it's unusual that my meals are a little simple. Besides, I'm sure I could master dishes like la lettre faucilor or blubber profiteroles in no time, if I felt so inclined.
There it is. You don't know how to cook.
Not yet, maybe, but... Anyway, what are you even doing here? I do hope... Let me first be clear that I'm not taking guests at this time. So, if...
Sorry! We're sorry! Please don't be mad! Yeah, exactly! What the traveler said! Emma was a... Hang on a sec! You didn't exactly hold you back either!
My help? Well, maybe you're forgetting that I'm no longer the mighty Hydro Archon.
Don't worry, it's nothing that serious. It's just very specific, and you're the one with the power to help!
Oh? Well, if that's the case, then... So tell me, what specifically made... I see. I knew you couldn't have come all this way just to amuse after all. I was once the brightest star in all of Fontaine, well versed in all the various performing, but given the present circumstances. True, but I have made a decision to retire. Although I am no longer required to play the role of the Hydro Archon, the time I spent inhabiting that character, centuries of pretending to be a different person, changes you completely. I'm not the same person I once was. Of course, that can't be undone now. It's too late, and I have no intention of reinventing myself all over again. But at least I can say that I no longer desire to.
I can understand, but this is just a one-off card to fill in for someone who's sick. Surely that's okay.
Whether it's a one-off or not, it's a boundary that I've committed to no longer cross. If I make an exception to the rule now, I'm just leaving a back door for myself. Which would be the same as not having a boundary, so I'm not going to perform.
And that's okay. Guess there's no convincing you. Well, is there anything else we can do? Do you know any other actors who might be interested in the role?
No.
Short and to the point.
I've never been great at maintaining relationships since I'm just an ordinary person now. They'll probably just laugh in my face. True, but I mean, could you even blame them? I show up out of the blue, begging and groveling for their help with the show they hope they get paid for. Ooh, no way. I'm dying from embarrassment.
Well, is there anything else you can do? This performance really means a lot to the guy we're working.
Have I not made myself clear? You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't want this job, nor... Sorry. I didn't mean for that to sound so harsh. I wish I could help, really.
It's all right, Farina. Paimon just wanted to make sure we tried everything. Oh, everyone in the troupe will be so... Yeah, I guess that's all we can do now.
Toodaloo to you.
What's going on over there?
That's besides the point. I'll ask you again. Why did you start looking for a replacement without my consent?
You didn't need to say it.
And that gives you the right to make...
Shortly after you left, the troupe's lead actress came to the Adventurers Guild. She believes that she's healthy enough to perform. Excuse me, but can you both take a moment to discuss...
Sorry. I was just dealing with a little misunderstanding. So...
Sadly, it's a no from her.
I see. Well, you see, our...
Oh, right! Sounds like everything worked itself out then. Yeah, she'd be livid. We'd get the scolding.
Jeez, is Lady Farina really so hard?
Only joking, calm down. So, guess we can consider, despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still ranking our...
Look, this is the last chance we have, though.
If your illness flares up again, there won't be time to find anyone to replace you. So, are you absolutely sure you'll be able to handle it? The whole team is putting...
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and it's what I share everyone's desire to commemorate every one of us.
You're right.
Sounds like the show will go on. Sure.
I was just passing by because I realized Alright, I'm coming. No need to drag me. Hello, one and all.
Didn't you say you were gonna take a rest at home?
I was just ever so slightly concerned about the situation you mentioned. When you came to talk with me earlier, I jumped right to explaining my position and said, and all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. Anyway, I'm sorry, Paimon.
Oh, totally fine. I didn't take any of that.
You really have a knack for asking the most uncomfortable questions, don't you? I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly refusing you. And then, to make matters worse, you caught... But in any case, it sounds like the issue has...
Yeah. When they said they were going to ask for your help,
There's no need to think like that. And no need to keep addressing me as lady. Just Verena is fine. I was wondering if this truth is so important to all of you, if the difficulties are purely financial, then there must be a solution. You could put the shows on pause while you look for a sponsor, for instance. Everyone seems so devoted to the truth.
We all want to believe that, but some things are just beyond our control. Everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director. She was the heart and soul of our troupe.
Her name was O'Reilly, and she was the founder as well as the artistic director of our troupe. And tragically, she...
What?
That's actually how I recognized these two. It was all thanks to their efforts that the troupe... But still...
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Lady Miss Farina. She rallied many people around her who were destitute or had lost their sense of purpose in life, and people loved our performances back then.
And then disaster struck.
Yeah. After that, none of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. We've been doing the best we can. It's agonizing.
What a terrible waste. A gifted artist from humble beginnings, who achieved so much and no doubt had much more to give. I suppose it's fair to say then that this final show, besides being your farewell to the stage, is also your final...
Yes, exactly.
Well, good thing I followed the traveler here. After hearing this tragic tale, I can no longer...
Farina,
I know what you're thinking, but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. Besides, they're no longer looking for a replacement anyway. I can, however, provide some artistic guidance from the vantage point of a... But only if you feel this is something that would help, of course.
Oh, most definitely. We'll take any guidance that you can give.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though. Will that be a problem?
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, is that you tell me some more about the life and work of your late director. Something I've begun to realize since my departure from the opera epiclese is that there's a lot you don't see when you observe everything from on high. The law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human emotion. What about all the unresolved emotions of the parties involved? What happens to them? An interesting answer. But if you ask me, I think all emotion shall ultimately return home to the heart. Take, for example, how this troupe pines for their late director.
So a fan of your dramatic monologue, huh? You just want to get back in on the action, don't you?
No. This is a completely different situation. Would you be willing to join me? Come on, take a break from adventuring to listen to a story.
Thank you all so much. Our director was a huge fan of Miss Farina's performances. As, of course, all right. Follow me. We'll go to our usual practice space. Please excuse the size. It's a little on the smaller side.
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
Can we play Banker next time?
Thank you for completing.
Add Astra.
Lady Farina?
What's Lady Farina doing here?
Hello. Allow me to explain. As of today, these two over here are the ones that made it possible. They kindly reached out to Miss Farina on our behalf. You bet, that was the trial of the century.
You helped bring our director's murderer to justice. We can't thank you enough.
You were saying the Little Oceanic?
Yeah, that's the name of our final show. It's an unfinished script. One of our greatest regrets is that she never...
Wait, but if it's not finished, then...
Yeah, we've been battling issues on every front, trying to... The protagonist of the story, she longed to live with one day.
So far, so good. A classic tale.
That's one of the issues we've been trying to deal with. We need a proper...
We still haven't decided between a happy...
But true to life.
Yeah. but then there's the question.
Exactly. A lot of the time, people come to watch a show just hoping for some... And one last thing. The first is Paulo, who plays the protagonist's lover. He's locked himself away to focus on writing an ending for the script. But the deadline's passed. The other is Villemont. He did write to us, promising that he'll be there.
Although...
What opportunity? What do you mean?
Maybe you're on a...
Our director was constantly singing your praises. All of us look up to you as a role model.
I suspect the reason they're dragging that one by one, all the obstacles
makes sense. Okay, priority number one, let's check in with Paulo and see where he's at with the ending. He went back to Poisson.
I thought the last thing his friend would...
Yeah, you could use some company.
Poisson? Nothing. I suppose my presence will... So, allons-y. To Poisson!